Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
What if I told you that everything happening with Shedeur Sanders right now is not what it seems? What if the criticism, the benchings, the drama with Rex Ryan, all of it is part of a calculated billion-dollar master plan that a former Cleveland Browns player just accidentally exposed? Because right now, the NFL world is buzzing about something that leaked from inside the Browns organization. And when you hear what the
quarterback locally, I guess just one more. Just what do you think? You have to show to coaches to have that belief in you that you can be ready.
This former player allegedly confirmed about Shedeur Sanders and Cleveland's 2026 vision. You're going to understand why the Browns might actually be playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. This is not a story about a struggling rookie quarterback sitting on the bench. This is a story about patience, about strategy, about an organization that has failed at quarterback for 25 years, finally deciding to do things differently. And Shedeur Sanders is right at the center of it all. The NFL has never seen anything quite like this before. A fifth-round pick with first-round talent, the son of a Hall of Famer, a player so confident that he crosses his arms on the sideline and tells...
And Rex Ryan, you want to continue to attack Shedeur time after time after time. Are you not tired?
Yeah.
Are you not tired of coming at Shedeur? Like, truly. And the first time, Rex, I was with you. Because at that time, I was like, you know what, Shedeur? I didn't necessarily love the miming of it all. Or you know what, Shedeur? I didn't necessarily love you saying that, based on the quarterbacks in this league, I should be starting. This is dumb. And if Rex Ryan want to talk crazy about Shedeur Sanders, then let me talk crazy about Rex Ryan. Because Rex Ryan makes some imbecilic remarks. Wow. Like truly imbecilic remarks. Like, how in the world are you going to criticize Shedeur Sanders' body language after that game? If there's one thing Shedeur Sanders did great in that game, it was his body language. He came onto the field after halftime out of surprise. Hey, offense, let's get into it. Hey, crowd, let's get into it. I know our team has sucked up to this point. Offense ain't scored no points up to this point. I think maybe a field goal. Defense has done some things. Hey, let's get into it. Then, after the offensive line was throwing nothing but lookout blocks. Hey, Shedeur, look out! Offensive line was throwing nothing but lookout blocks. Shedeur Sanders still maintained his poise, still maintained his on-field integrity.
Tells the world he's better than half the starters in the league. And now we might finally understand why the Cleveland Browns are keeping him on ice. Stay with me because what you're about to hear could change everything you think.
I'm saying is there's 2 times you put the young man in the Wildcat and did not put him under center. And we're talking about uplifting the quarterback. Everybody's going to still look at a guy like Shedeur Sanders. They want him to win. I don't know if everybody in that building wants him to win.
Most QBs lose the game, and I thought Shedeur knew the assignment and he passed the test. He took care of the football for the most part, obviously the one interception, but other than that, he played really smart.
Thought you knew about Shedeur Sanders and his future in the NFL. Let's start with what just came out because this is where things get absolutely insane. A former Cleveland Browns player, someone who still has deep connections inside that organization, reportedly confirmed something that analysts have been speculating about for weeks. The Browns are not developing Shedeur Sanders to be their backup quarterback. They are developing him to be their franchise quarterback with a potential contract worth over $275 million. But here's the twist. They don't want him starting in 2024. They might not even want him starting in 2025. Their target is 2026, and when you understand why, everything starts making sense. See, the Cleveland Browns have been the laughingstock of the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks.
This is a weekly thing right here with the Shedeur Sanders saga. This is a weekly thing. And these dudes is around here just doing the most. Are you guys really, truly hating for clicks? And when I say this before, and when I talk about it all the time, people look at you like, you guys are just delusional. All the Shedeur people are... No, bro. You're gaslighting. You're gaslighting.
Since 1999, they have started over 30 different quarterbacks. 30. That number is absolutely insane when you think about it. Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Brandon Weeden, Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Kaiser. The list goes on and on. Name after name of failed experiments and broken dreams. Every single time the Browns thought they found their guy, they...
Can we admit that all 3 of those things are true at once? And why are people hating on Shedeur personally? I think he's the most scrutinized player in the league right now. We analyze every single thing he does, every snap, every quote. Give him a break. He's a 5th-round pick rookie, and let's let this thing develop. Can we just admit these 3 things about Shedeur Sanders, that they're all true? 1, he has showed flashes of being a great quarterback in his 4 starts. 2, he has made rookie mistakes. He's been baited by a couple defenders. He's thrown a couple picks. And 3, the Cleveland Browns supporting cast is absolutely abysmal. Do you watch our offensive line? Seriously, fire Bloomgren. That's our offensive line coach. The unit is terribly mismanaged. They're getting beat by simple twists and stunts. And Jerry Jeudy leads the league in drops. He's a sorry excuse for number 1. I'm sorry, Jerry Jeudy, but it's true. It's true. You're terrible.
Rushed him onto the field behind a struggling offensive line with mediocre weapons into a losing culture. And every single time that quarterback failed, not because they lacked talent, but because they were set up to fail from day one. But something changed when Shedeur Sanders entered the building. According to insiders, the Browns looked at their history and finally asked themselves a different question. What if we stopped doing what we've always done? What if we actually developed a quarterback the right way? And that's when the 2026 plan was allegedly born. Now let me break down exactly what this plan supposedly looks like, because it's actually genius when you think about it from a football operations perspective. Year 1, 2024 is all about learning. Shedeur sits behind Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston. He watches, he studies, he learns the playbook without the pressure of having to perform on Sundays. He gets stronger in the weight room. He develops chemistry with his future weapons. He understands NFL speed without getting killed behind that offensive line that everyone knows is struggling. Year 2, 2025 is the transition year. By then, the Browns will have addressed their offensive line issues through the draft and free agency. They will have better weapons around him. The culture will be shifting, and Shedeur will step into the starting role with a team built around his strengths, not a team that's asking him to save a sinking ship. Year 3, 2026 is the payoff. By then, Shedeur will have 2 full years of development. He will have started games, he will have proven himself, and the Browns will lock him up to a massive contract extension, potentially worth over $275 million, making him the face of the franchise for the next decade. This is the Patrick Mahomes model. This is the Aaron Rodgers model. This is how you actually build a franchise quarterback, instead of throwing a rookie into the fire and watching him burn. And the former Browns player who allegedly confirmed this plan, he reportedly said something that should make every Shedeur Sanders doubter pause. He said the Browns organization believes Shedeur has the highest ceiling of any quarterback they've drafted or signed in the last 20 years. Higher than Baker Mayfield. Higher than anyone. Let that sink in for a moment. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting, because all of this connects directly to the Rex Ryan controversy that has been dominating sports media for the
ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
We'll see if they make a change there.
Woo. That's a great piece of television from Rex Ryan. Hats off to Rex and ESPN. So we're finally, this speaks to a cultural change. This is a black quarterback he's talking about, and he's talking pretty salty and spicy about him. And I think he's talking accurately about him. He said, if I know other coaches around the league are talking about it, you're lazy, you're not a leader.
The past week. You remember what Rex Ryan said on national television. He absolutely torched Shedeur Sanders with some of the harshest criticism we've ever heard directed at a rookie quarterback. He called him an embarrassment. He questioned his work ethic. He mocked his body language for having his arms crossed on the sideline. Rex literally said, and I quote, "This kid talks. He runs his mouth like he's the starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way." Those are brutal words coming from a former NFL head coach on national television. And when those comments went viral, everyone assumed Rex was just keeping it real. Everyone assumed he was exposing some kind of flaw in Shedeur's character. But what if Rex Ryan got played? What if his criticism actually proves that the Browns' plan is working exactly as intended? Think about it for a second. If the Browns are deliberately keeping Shedeur on the bench to develop him properly, they need the pressure to stay low. They need the media to focus on other things. They need people to question whether Shedeur is even ready, so that when he finally does step onto the field, expectations are managed. Rex Ryan calling Shedeur an embarrassment actually helps the Browns. It lowers the spotlight. It reduces the pressure. It gives Shedeur time to develop without the entire football world watching his every move and criticizing every incompletion. The former player who leaked this information allegedly said that the Browns' front office was not upset about Rex Ryan's comments. In fact, they were somewhat relieved. Because as long as the national narrative is focused on whether Shedeur belongs in the NFL, nobody is paying attention to what the Browns are actually building behind the scenes. This is four-dimensional chess right here. But let's not ignore what Shedeur himself has shown, because despite all the noise, despite all the criticism, this young man has proven that he belongs in professional football. At Colorado, Shedeur Sanders...
And then Shedeur, like, that was Rex's whole thing, in my opinion. Like, if it is so bad, then you should be taking over the position. Right. Like you should be starting then and showing that you're ready to start. That's kind of how I've taken what Rex is saying. Like, but you're not. And what Rex said in a nutshell is, I have faith in the head football coach here, Stefanski, who he thinks is a really good football coach, which in all the cords that I've talked about, or people that I know, he is. He's a really good football coach. If he is.
Threw for over 4,000 yards in a single season. He completed nearly 70% of his passes. He threw 37 touchdowns against just 10 interceptions. He transformed a program that was literally the worst in college football into a competitive team that people actually wanted to watch. And he did all of this with a target on his back. Every single week, defenses game planned specifically to stop him. Every single week, opposing fans tried to get in his head. Every single week, the pressure was immense because he was not just Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback. He was Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders, primetime himself. That kind of pressure either breaks you or it builds you. And Shedeur Sanders, it built him into something special. In his limited NFL opportunities, Shedeur has shown flashes of brilliance. Yes, he has made rookie mistakes. Yes, he has thrown interceptions that he would like to have back. But he has also shown poise under pressure that you cannot teach. He has shown the ability to make throws that most quarterbacks in the league cannot make. He has shown leadership qualities that have his teammates rallying around him. One anonymous Browns teammate recently said something that should terrify every other team in the AFC North. He said when Shedeur walks into the building, the energy changes. He carries himself like he's already won championships. And the crazy thing is, we believe him. That is not the description of a player who is an embarrassment. That is the description of a future franchise quarterback. And let's talk about why the timing of this 2026 plan makes so much financial sense, because the Browns front office is not stupid. They understand the salary cap better than most organizations in the NFL. Right now, the Browns are dealing with the Deshaun Watson situation. That guaranteed contract is eating up massive cap space. They cannot afford to pay another quarterback top dollar while Watson's money is still on the books. But by 2026, the financial picture looks completely different. Watson's cap hit decreases. The overall salary cap is projected to rise significantly due to new television deals. And Shedeur Sanders will still be on his rookie contract, which means the Browns can build an elite roster around him before they have to pay him franchise quarterback money. This is exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes. They built a Super Bowl caliber roster while Mahomes was still on his cheap rookie deal. Then when it was time to pay him, they had already established a winning culture and could afford to restructure other contracts to make it work. The Browns are following the same playbook, and Shedeur Sanders is their Mahomes. At least that's what they believe internally. Now I know what some of you are thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but what about the Browns being the Browns? What about their history of messing everything up? What about the dysfunction that has plagued this organization for decades? And you know what? Those are fair questions. The Cleveland Browns have earned their reputation as one of the most dysfunctional franchises in professional sports. They have made boneheaded decisions. They have wasted talent. They have crushed the dreams of countless players and fans. But here's what's different this time. Kevin Stefanski, say what you want about the Browns' record this season. Say what you want about their quarterback situation. But Kevin Stefanski has won Coach of the Year twice. He has shown that he can develop players. He has shown that he understands modern offensive football. And according to insiders, Stefanski was the driving force behind the decision to draft Shedeur Sanders and develop him properly instead of rushing him onto the field. Stefanski reportedly told the front office that if they wanted him to continue as head coach, they needed to commit to a long-term quarterback development plan. No more carousel, no more flavor of the month. One guy, developed the right way, given every opportunity to succeed. And the Browns agreed. They chose Shedeur Sanders, and they committed to the 2026 timeline. This is not the old Browns. This is a new approach. While it might be painful to watch in the short term, the long-term payoff could be historic. Let's also address something that has been bothering a lot of people about this whole situation. The way Shedeur Sanders has been criticized feels different than how other rookie quarterbacks get treated. When Bryce Young struggled in Carolina, analysts talked about the offensive line and the lack of weapons. When Anthony Richardson made mistakes in Indianapolis, analysts talked about his development and potential. But when Shedeur Sanders sits on the bench with his arms crossed, suddenly he's an embarrassment who needs to quit running his mouth. Why is that? Why does the same confidence that gets praised in some quarterbacks get criticized in Shedeur? Why does his belief in himself become arrogance, while other players' belief in themselves gets called competitive fire? These are uncomfortable questions that the NFL media does not want to address. But they are questions that matter because how we treat young black quarterbacks in this league has a history, and that history is not always pretty. Shedeur Sanders carries himself with confidence because that is how he was raised. His father is one of the most confident athletes to ever play professional sports. Prime Time did not apologize for his swagger. He embraced it, and Shedeur is doing the same thing. The NFL should be celebrating that confidence, not trying to tear it down. Because players like Shedeur Sanders are the future of this league. They bring personality, they bring entertainment, they bring a new generation of fans who want to see athletes express themselves authentically. So where does this leave us right now? What should we expect going forward? Based on everything we know, Shedeur Sanders is going to continue sitting behind the veterans for the rest of the season. The Browns are not going to panic. They are not going to change their plan just because Rex Ryan ran his mouth on television. Next offseason, expect the Browns to make significant investments in their offensive line. Expect them to add weapons through the draft and free agency. Expect them to build a roster specifically designed to help Shedeur succeed when he finally takes over. And then in 2025, expect Shedeur Sanders to win the starting job. Not because it was given to him, but because he earned it through 2 years of development, preparation, and patience. By 2026, if everything goes according to plan, Shedeur Sanders will be one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in NFL history. He will have proven everyone wrong. He will have broken the Browns' quarterback curse once and for all. And Rex Ryan, he will have to eat every single word he said on that ESPN broadcast. This is what separates the great organizations from the mediocre ones. The great organizations have vision. They have patience. They understand that building a championship team takes time and requires sacrificing short-term results for long-term success. The Cleveland Browns, for the first time in decades, appear to have that vision, and Shedeur Sanders is the centerpiece of it all. So the next time you see Shedeur on the sideline with his arms crossed, do not see an embarrassment. See a young man who knows exactly what his future holds. See a quarterback who is patiently waiting for his moment. See the future of the Cleveland Browns franchise. They'll learn. That's what Shedeur posted on his Instagram after all the criticism. Just 2 words, they'll learn. And you know what? I believe him. The question is, do you? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Is Shedeur Sanders the real deal, or is this all just hype? Is the Browns' 2026 plan genius, or are they fooling themselves again? Let me know what you think, because this conversation is just getting started. If you want to stay up to date on everything happening with Shedeur Sanders and the Browns, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We are going to be covering this story every step of the way until Shedeur finally gets his shot and proves the entire world wrong. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.